This is Group 5 and we are doing Assessment 3, the Integrative Thinking Project. This is our group member. Next page. Australia produces 504 kilograms of the household waste per person each year. Of the estimated 67 million tons of waste Australia generated in 2017, as 37 was recycled, leaving 21.7 disposed of the landfill, and that figure is increasing. The cost of food waste alone, the economic, is estimated at 20 billion each year. It is said that Australian government have committed to prepare the national waste policies and to work together to better management waste. Not only government set up policies, actually we all need to take action on waste. Therefore, our presentation will go through integrative thinking process to analyze how could government encourage people to reduce household waste. Next page. The integrative thinking process is a powerful idea that offers new answers to our studies problem. In the age where society is turning more and more locked in one line of thinking, it gave us tools to break away from our procedures and eliminate our blind spots, give us the chance to arrive at the different and better conclusion. In the effective executive, Peter Starks points out that an effective decision maker focused on the most important decision works to achieve deep conceptual understanding. The basic understanding of the right decision comes from the clash of conflicting opinions, from careful consideration of competing alternatives, not from reaching consensus, but from trying to create disagreement. It is in the tension between competing ideas that we come to understand the true nature of problem and start to see possibilities for a better answer. This is what we call the integrative thinking. Next page.
And next is integrative thinking process. Stage 1, to reducing household waste by government. Our group comes out with opposing point of view, built up reward policy and punishment policies. Here is a front shows how reward system work. The first is the ranking system. We set the household waste classification unit as the community. People tend to keep up with the comparative mentality, and we want to create a positive social atmosphere. We use the community as the unit and the town as the unit to make statistics on household waste. Families with less waste will be rewarded, and families with more waste will be punished. The second point is to create rewards, both money and reputation. According to the ranking system as shown in the first point, families without mandatory rewards will receive appropriate reputation rewards like gift name prize or on the social media. We focus on cultivating people's awareness and habits of recycling. The third point is government intervention through the government to reduce payroll taxes and other taxes for well-behaved family members. This indirect methods may be mandatory and more practical. And this is the punishment system from. We research and use experience that Japan has many laws on reducing household waste to classification and recycling, improve environmental protection awareness and appropriate waste treatment level. The first method is to find a household that perform poorly in the rankings. The families show up will naturally have actual fines. This method can urge everyone to consciously reduce rubbish. Even if there is no bonus, they are not willing to be fined. The second point is government intervention. Increase the personal income tax to increase the cost of living of this family, so as to achieve the goal of reducing domestic garbage. These people will therefore reduce the default credits and violation of the credit scoring system and take punitive measures such as not being able to take public transportation, or even applying for a visa. In addition to reward and punishment from a standard line will be set up. If the amount of garbage in all households is below this line, it means that everyone is performing very well, even that the region and household ranks last will not be punished.
Stage 2, examine the models. In this stage, we need to define the points of tension, assumptions, and cause and effect forces. Integrative thinking explores opposing approaches to models to determine their similarities and differences. So the next step is to look at these models together and explicitly put them under string with a series of exploratory questions. We have two opposing models to solve reducing household problem. The similarity is these measures are all government interventions, require the cooperation of the public, and are all aimed at reducing household waste. The difference is that the reward system creates a positive, optimistic attitude in society, and people expect to do the things. Punishment creates fear in the public and forces them to change. So the most valuable thing is no matter what method is adopted, it is important to cultivate people's awareness of reducing household waste and create a good social atmosphere so that people can consciously make good behavior. The tension is that there may be some people who ignore, oppose, and are unwilling to follow the relevant policies stipulated by the government, because some people think the government is bluffing, because these measures may not have a substantial effect on the environment, and they think the regulatory measures are so strict, and there are too many defects, which need to invest a lot of money and manpower. If we assume that the government achieves the goal of reducing domestic waste, we can see that our city becomes more beautiful and clean and orderly. Not only can people increase their income through these measures, but the poverty index of the family is reduced, and everyone can be positively affected. For positive rewards, mental rewards may not motivate them very well because some people are self-satisfied. They don't need external praise for them, and they don't want to pander to the masses. However, if we give material rewards, people will become dependent. The government needs to spend a lot of money and human resources. We cannot guarantee enough money to support us in the long run. In this way, it requires a combination of rewards and penalties to help the government achieve their goals. Next page.
In the stage 3, explore the possibility. In this case, we need to expand the pathway 1 to 3, and in the pathway 1, the hidden game. In the stage, we need to explore the new way to help us learn from the unknown and discover new information. After identifying the tension point, we need to construct our hypothetical idea and determine the cause of what through causality. So to solve the environmental problem, the government is introducing the different policy to help reducing the environmental problem. Therefore, every citizen should also have the duty and responsibility to obey the rules and regulations made by the government. In the stage 1, as far as the incentive system is concerned, the ranking mechanism failed to motivate people to effectively reduce household waste because people do not spend much time on things they are not in their own interest. Ranking does not affect the quality of your life, so it is one of the easier mechanisms to ignore. The ranking system is also unfair to some extent because the mechanism is not well supervised and ranking mechanism does not a good job in reducing people's household garbage. It may cause a lot of trouble because the mechanism. For example, those who put a premium on ranking may deliberately produce more garbage to increase their recycling. Pathway 2, double down. To effectively reducing environmental problems caused by household waste, the government should adapt a straighter way to reducing household waste. For punishment, it should be made more intensive, even finally. For example, reducing income, increasing tax, and even lower personal rating. By increasing tests, the penalty increased the monthly cost of living and therefore directly affect the quality of the life of individuals. Not just when you cannot have a set of reasonable right to use public transportation like airplane and high-speed train. They can also have to take out the normal commercial and civil laws. This also greatly increasing the threat of personal life. And last one, the pathways decomposition to encourage people of voluntary reduce household waste. The government has created different welfare programs for people with different economic level. For example, for family with relative high economic level, they might be more inclined to reduce tax because tax payment is unavoidable, and it is the responsibility of every citizen. Less tax will bring more income. For family with lower income economic level, they might be more inclined to choose some welfare programs by society. For example, increased medical subsidies, get extra living house allowance, and enjoy half price public transport fares. This benefit can in fact solve their living problems. Thank you. Next page.
Stage 4, access to project type. The first step, we need to develop the solution and implement work. In the period stage, it was mentioned that due to the worsening environment and the government varies the policies to help solve and improve the responsibility of the government and combine with the responsibility and the management of the local government. The problem with the environment is too great to solve alone. However, it is very that the local government retain the sovereignty and the self-determination. This does not mean that the government shall the completing excluding for the environment policies. Therefore, we must establish the system in which the government established accepted frequencies and mechanisms to allow state and local government to make a waste decision. Our next step, step 2, a single reward or punishment is not futable. We need to the integrative them and incentive the measuring require more human resource and money consumption and the awarenesses and the habits of the reducing domestic waste needed to cultivating. Some people don't even care or the spiritual reward. So we must do first use the material reward to attack them. In comparison, punishment measures can be effectively in the long run because the government does not need to invest too much money for the perspective of the government. This punishment measure is beneficial to the government. However, due to the high amount of the funds, this is a measure that can be using for the government's point of the view. So we must first maximum the reward to attack them in contact. The punishment measure do not require expansions of the consumption of the funding, but for the perspective of the measuring mustn't be because the amount of punishment is too high, of the punishments is too strict. The measurement will be disabled. Therefore, we will follow the planning under certain, especially certain stance. We improve the different punishment on the special group of the people. For example, some family cannot afford the punishment, or some people can be effective for the special circumstance and the condition and the punishment are clearly defined so as to improve the rule and regulation. Step 3, like generally speaking, reward and punishment measuring can be using the combination. They are reward and the punishment fantasies and the guarantee, especially private stance should be concerned and there should be expected the reward of punishment, such as private be the implementation of the opinion, but most of the impact since it that we need to find the loopholes and continue to improve the future implementation process. However, the condition and the process between the government and the Mason, the reason of the original intention of this plan is to let people have a better environment answering and make the environment management and the government more effectively.
The solution is, after a comprehensive analysis of the 4 stages, we decided to establish a rewards and punishment system. There are certain defects when we set up a single system. So where the government pays too much money or people getting dissatisfied. So both rewards and the penalties need to be exist and they balance each other. The advantage of this method is that it can achieve the lower cost and maintain the fairness, and it also can be sustainable. It's a long-term plan. In order to better achieve our goals, we also recommend the following methods. The first is its relevant government department to better arrangement and check and improve the follow-up related issues. The second is we should make the plan more detailed, such as setting some special time limits and allocated the budget. What's more, to produce some public service advertisement, schools should to educate students in this ways. Next page. In conclusion, we have set up a rewards and punishment system to encourage people to reduce household waste and judging whether this method is effective from the perspective of hypothesis, find out the defects of the system and solve the problem. Through government intervention, people have positive awareness will improving the quality of their life and household waste also be reduced. This is our reference list.
Thanks for watching.
And thanks for watching.